many Japanese war propaganda do you need to feel sad?
At least one.
At least one, yes.
At least one.
Welcome to Between Nerds. I'm Aldo Mendez. This is Julius. The Welcome to Between Nerds. Episode 137 being recorded here on Wednesday, March 29th.
I feel like I recorded 3 days ago.
I did record 3 days ago.
I feel like I recorded 3 days ago, and I feel like an episode just came out today, and I don't understand why I'm recording right now.
Oh, we're not going to be recording for another, what?
Week and
12
a half.
days? 12 days?
Yeah,
12 days?
yeah, something like that. Today, we are talking about Studio Mappa's first project.
First project?
Yeah, in this corner of the world. It was crowdfunded. And next week, within the next 12 days, we'll probably have watched season 1 of Trigun, Stampede. And hopefully, we haven't confirmed yet because I keep forgetting to text him. But hopefully, we'll have good friend of the podcast, Mr. Roby Quintela.
We can tell him, shout out.
Yeah, and have him sitting right here in the middle, being the chatty little guest that he is.
Mm-hmm.
But so like I was saying, Studio Mappa though, crowdfunded. That's why there's so many ads in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah,
did you notice that?
Yeah.
It's a good 5 minutes of just logos.
Yeah, it's just 5 logos. It was this studio, and I was like, I thought this was made by Mappa.
Oh yeah,
and then at the end, it's just Mappa. Very good intro, by the way, with Mappa at the beginning. That was nice. It looked really cool.
And see, this is in this corner of the world is not perfect, but this is why we have Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen and everything and Hell's Paradise and everything else they're doing right now.
This is not that at all.
And this isn't that. It as much as I wanted it to be.
No, you have to turn off your present anime goggles. There's no way you can compare that because even the animation, the way it is being rendered, it's almost like an old school Japanese painting.
It looks like watercolors or colored pencil or something.
Oils and stuff that.
Yeah.
And it's good sometimes, and it's very off-putting some other times.
Oh, I never took issue with the animation at all. I think it was 11 out of 10 throughout. Don't get me wrong. It's like watching. What's the prettiest Ghibli movie? That would be
I haven't seen them all.
Out of the ones we have seen, it'd be what? Howl's Moving Castle?
It looks really cool.
It's like that. It's like watching Howl's Moving Castle for the first time. You don't want to you can't take your eyes off it. But it's so clear that it's a movie that was made in somebody's basement. The storyboarding's all off. It doesn't make sense sometimes.
And then there's this thing that happens with when you dub something, and I remember I don't know why this is a core memory, but I remember when I used to watch Scarface as a kid in Spanish. I'm oh, okay, this is the only way I can understand it. But once I learn English and stuff and watched it in English,
right?
The sound quality in the dub lets out all background noise. It doesn't it doesn't put it in. The cars move in the background while Tony Montana is going up this cabana motel thing, and Havana motel thing, and the noise is on the background, and you can hear all those noises. In this movie, it doesn't happen. It's just dialogue.
Yeah.
It's just English all the time.
Yeah, and it's clear off the bat. You know what it's going to be. Because the very first thing, I think it's fine when movies use subtitles, right? I love Tarantino movies. I think it's, hilarious how he uses subtitles. And I don't mean, closed captions. I mean, labeling your acts, right? I don't mind that when somebody like Quentin Tarantino does it, but
chapter 1
yeah, but the thing about in this corner of the world is that, sorry, my dog's making noise, is that they use the dates as a narrative crutch a little bit. Nothing ever comes up organically. It's always I know that the bombs were dropped on Japan in 1944. So you start the movie being May 12th, 1938. 38, yeah. 38 or something like that. Or no, I think it was 33 because there's a 5-year time skip.
Right, yeah. And you know what, dude, about this movie, don't get me wrong, it is sad as shit. It is, but we know what's going to happen. We know, as soon as you told me, as soon as you saw that one date on the first frame, you were like, oh shit, I
World War
forgot
II,
this is
yeah.
World War II.
Yeah.
And we know what's gonna happen in World War II. You know what I'm saying? Through countless forms of media and history and history books and stuff like that.
Even Texas education, I know what happened to Japan in World War II.
Exactly.
That says something.
But like, what makes it super sad, and I feel like it is gonna be something like to their favor in according to like the time, is because the sad thing about this is the like sprint through the mud, like her growing up, like the things that happen to get to the point of the end is just atrocious. Besides the bombings,
and I think that's like a really apt way to put it. Like I think that's real smart, because like it's sprinting through the mud. Like right away, it's like, hey, do you just want to see just shit for like 2 hours? Do you just want to see just like there's nothing? It's not a story of growth, not really. It's not a story about like family or falling in love. It's not even really a tragedy, kind of, because like the tragedy isn't the characters. It's like it's like this other narrative that we know to be World War II outside of the narrative our characters are having. That's like the tragedy of it. So it doesn't like fit anywhere. It's kind of like just gore in the sense that like there's gore movies that aren't artful or like smart. It's just trying to show you just crazy gore and gallons of blood just for the sake of it, because some people like that, right? That's how this kind of feels. It doesn't feel smart with it. It doesn't feel like I complained about the storyboarding earlier. It switches very, very quickly just to try to show you like something more fucked up like 30 minutes after you just got introduced to something else, because it just wants to like and I don't think that's like smart storytelling. I don't think forced. It feels so forced, and I'm not convinced that that's like that it makes for a good movie.
At first, it didn't feel forced, because there's like there's no act 2 to the movie. It's just act 1 and then act 3. You know what I'm saying? So like the first act, I'm like, all right, like where's bomb o'clock?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. Every time they show a date, I'm just like, okay, getting closer.
Yeah.
Okay, getting closer.
Oh, we're building the shelters. Oh shit.
We're getting close.
But you're still like 15 minutes into the movie.
We're starting to get alarms like in the home village. Here we go. And it's a lot of things too. Like it's
the food shortaging. They show you the progress of like the rations that they're getting. It's wild.
I think that's a good point, because what I was taking from that is it's like propaganda against Japanese imperialism, because there was a whole different government they had that like bombed Pearl Harbor, and it's like comparing the People's Republic of China with like the Republic of China.
Correct.
Right? So like I understand it's not the same people that are like making cool works that I talk about all the time, like anime. Like it's not the same people group. It's not people with the same values. But like it's so clear that it's like when German literature talks about World War II now, you always talk down about Nazism. That's why they have like the swastikas banned, any type of Nazi paraphernalia is banned. This kind of feels the same. Like they're completely just throwing stones on Japanese imperialism in a good way, like for a good portion, for the whole like long ass first act of the movie, because it's like what you were talking about. There's no rations. The way that it's like they're trapped in like the 19th century, like girls just kind of get married off and then they're never seen again, kind of thing. Like not very progressive at all. Like women didn't have rights, couldn't own property. That's a whole plot line. And I thought that was interesting, because like I never thought about it like that. I never thought like, yeah, the modern day Japan talking about the empire is like Germans talking about Nazism.
Absolutely, they were the Germans. They were the Nazis of the
Eastern Hemisphere.
Yeah. Wild.
It's weird. Like world history is weird.
And as we're going through this, she's in a well-off situation. She's a seaweed farmer, so she has.
Is it a well-off situation?
Well, she has something to trade, and that's a lot for those times.
Misuzu.
Misuzu Urano's family are seaweed farmers,
right?
Who sell and trade seaweed, which that's again not a bad thing back then.
Nope.
And she gets married off, and like sometimes with the dub, I didn't know what was inner dialogue and what was actual dialogue.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, are you saying this or are you like thinking this? Because there's a lot of. It sucks because it's the theme of the movie, and it kind of threw me off when they actually like put it on context that the movie's like, oh, I'm glad, like the whole like, I'm being optimist, and towards the end is like, why I was so optimist for this shitty situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so wild to see that, and like again, like just the sprint through the mud of seeing like how the rations are like getting shorter. Lower. It's only like 3 sardines for a
they
family.
They couldn't afford rice. I don't know anything about Japanese food, but I know it has white rice. Dude, they couldn't afford rice. That's insane.
Rice. They had to like. She learned from a cookbook how to like ration out like food and how to make food from like.
Was it a cookbook or was it like old recipes given to her by the old ladies?
I think so. But it was in the form of like a packet kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. It was like a little binder, almost that she was like makeshift making. Because you're right. So in the beginning, there's like, I guess that's maybe the short act is like this pre-5-year time skip where they're all like 12, 13 or something like that, and it's introducing you to Suzu and her family that like live near the Hiroshima area, and they have, their extended family is across the lake. So certain times when the tide recedes, they go visit their family for a little, Saturday barbecue and then come back. And
trade some seaweed.
And trade some seaweed and stuff. Yeah. And like they get like sugarcane or milk or whatever the fuck it was. And then, so it's introducing you to her siblings, and then it's introducing you to her parents, and then like one of her classmates, and that's like all you need to know about the first act. That's all that matters. Is that like this guy clearly had like a crush on her, and then nothing came out of it, and then there's like a 5-year time skip. She's 18, and then just gets married off to some guy that was walking through the village and was just like, "Dad, I want that one." So they introduce themselves to the family and just be like, "Hey, my son thought your daughter was hot. Can we take her back to my house and like they'll get married?"
Yeah, and
that is crazy. That I get it. Like women have had it bad for a really long time, and me as a dude, it's like I forgot. Like, and I don't mean that in a mean way. Like, what I mean is like I forgot the extremity to it, like how natural that was for them. Just like, yeah, we just sell off our daughters and they're just a hindrance because they can't own property, so we just give them away when people
that's
ask.
What a quinceañera is about, brother.
Honestly, I heard that one too, and I don't want to believe it because it's literally a 15-year-old's birthday, but like I don't know. But like that's how they treat it here, at least in this one. She's like 18, 19.
Yeah.
But still, no rights. Just leaves one day, and like it happens so suddenly. That was the first time I was like, this movie's confusing as shit. Like it just happens out of nowhere, and then we just switch scenes to the different house.
Yeah, and then I don't know a lot either about the Japanese culture, but I know people know about American culture, and like even just through the 50s, 40s, and 30s, we were beating women. Like men were beating women left and right. You know what I'm saying? So in movies like this, it always seems so oddly policing relationship is often just like, oh hey, hi. Like in this movie, for example, like the relationship's not abusive in any way.
Okay.
It's kind of respectful for each other, but like they know they're married to each other. It's weird, right?
It reminds me of one of our clips that we had recently. Like he kind of cucks himself, kind of like her new husband. Like, kind of like it's like I get what you mean about like he respects his wife, he lets her do what she wants to do, but like he goes and like encourages her to go hang out with a guy that's gonna hit on her.
Yeah,
which was really weird for me. Like I'm skipping ahead like a lot.
Yeah, he does kind of puts himself in that situation where the classmate who Zuzu and what was his name?
His name is Tetsu.
Zuzu and Tetsu. He left because he became a Marine, right?
Yeah,
he became a sailor. And then in this marriage with Shusaku. He puts himself in this situation where he comes back. He's like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry, you guys have to deal with this dumb bitch." Wow, it was a wild part of the movie.
Like he was openly joking around while like being
Degrading.
a guest for dinner, being like, well, if you don't want her anymore, I'm more than happy to take her from you. Ha 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 ha. Like, dude, he's saying this to somebody's like wife, like to their husband. Yeah. Like he's right there. He's saying it directly to him. It's just like it's showing like how weird like Japanese culture was like at the time too, because like a good part of the movie, like the rest of what I would call the second act, but it's still like an extended first act, like you're talking about, is her just learning what it's like to be a wife in a new family in a new city, and you just have to learn everything again, and like especially during wartime, a woman's only job is just to take care of the house. That's it. It's a very like sad, unfulfilling life.
You know what's crazy? The survival classes that they were having.
Yeah,
like how, you know, like don't go into like holes like this because there might be unexploded bomb there.
And she didn't listen.
And she was
and she didn't listen.
And then you know, like how to take care of a fire, how to spleen a leg, how to like do this and that, and that's what I'm saying too about like even just the visual, like run through the mud as a viewer.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh god, it's just grinding.
Like, yeah. It's not sad. It's just kind of like I can't watch movies that are like where they just like degrade the main character for like a whole movie. And that's like there were some early 2000s comedies like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
where,
you talk about Stephen Carell all the time.
Right. That's exactly what I'm thinking of. That's kind of how this feels. It's like watching a Steve Carell movie right now.
Yeah.
It's just just like slightly bad things happening and just showing like how depressing and how there's just like how nothing's going to go on in her life ever. This is just it for forever. And that's like it's not like it doesn't make me realize anything new. It doesn't make me feel different about anything. Like when things are normally sad, you're like, wow, I haven't felt that kind of sad in a while.
Yeah. Where the movie did make a turn for the better for me is that at a certain point where she didn't listen about like the ditch holes that the bombs create, the non-exploded ones, and she happens to be taking care of her sister-in-law's daughter.
Yeah, so it's like her
right?
niece.
Or niece, right?
It's like a niece by marriage. I'd call that my niece, yeah.
Yeah. And then I just wanted to put the sister-in-law in the picture, though.
Yeah. I got you.
But she the is sister-in-law, out of town.
The sister-in-law even has a sad-ass story, too. Like,
oh, yeah, dude. That's crazy.
That's Keiko? She, before the war had started, she married, like, a sickly guy, had a couple kids with him, and he owned a watch shop, and like she was bougie, you know what I mean? Like she worked the shop, they made money together, but then the war effort happened, they like took down the business, he died because he didn't get drafted anyways, and then the family, her extended family, became kind of abusive towards her. And she had to leave to protect herself and her daughter, but she had to leave the son because, again, women can't own property, and that's the oldest son's kid, only male like heir, yeah. So like she just had to just abandon her son to her in-laws. That is crazy. Like once they explained that story, they were like, "Why is she so mean all the time? Like she's just coming around here and just degrading me and saying I'm bad at sewing and cooking and fetching water."
She does it by doing it herself too.
Yeah,
like she's like, "Move, like you don't know how to do it," and she's like, "We'll start doing whatever she's doing."
Yeah, it's not like let me show you. It's So yeah, right there. So her.
Yeah. Her Suzu's niece, she's walking them and they survive a firebombing, which was, you know, this
Harumi.
The Harumi was the little girl.
Yeah.
Once they're out of the bomb shelter, they start
that
walking
scene was
and start
weird.
asking. Oh yeah,
that scene was weird too because like Alder was saying earlier, once we get to a part of the movie, yeah, I feel like it's one of those scenes that didn't really need to be there. Didn't lead a whole lot to the story because in the before the 5-year time skip, she's at her grandma's house eating watermelon during the low tide days. And then, like, this ghost gremlin thing just comes out of her grandmother's attic.
Starts eating the rind.
Yeah, and just starts eating the rinds. And so she gives that creature, ghost thing, some fresh watermelon. And then she's in what's the new town called? Kuno, something like that.
Yes,
something
yes.
with Kuro. And then like there's this new character Reen that's only in here for this scene that is just explaining that like, oh yeah, I grew up in Hiroshima and like I used to be homeless and just eat watermelon rinds until a very nice girl that looks exactly like you gave me watermelon one day.
Right.
But what's messed up about this scene is that we learn that this girl is an escort. And that she's young, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, again, like, women just kind of didn't have a whole lot of options in this time. It was either, like, you get married and move to some nowhere town and hang out with your husband's family, or she becomes an escort that like, exclusively serves the Navy.
And to your point that you were talking about how, like, gory movies are gory because that's what the genre of the movie is.
Right.
I don't think there's... I don't think there's a tragedy genre, is it? Is there?
Sure.
Sure, it could be.
Sure,
right?
it could be.
It could be, but then again, it's not marketed as such. It's not. And to your point about bringing in this story about Rin and being what essentially is a geisha for a lady house, you know, for a whorehouse or a sex worker house.
There was a madame.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. And they always kind of like glamorize the whole aspect all the time.
Japanese
right?
culture does, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to see. And then, but anyways, it just seems like, I don't know. It reminds me how, like, the Boys comic is bad because this guy is just like a shock value whore.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's exactly what it is. And there's like plenty of scenes in this corner of the world that's like that. Mm-hmm. Like, one of those just being, like, what I was alluding to earlier a little bit, where Shusaku just kind of lets himself get cucked by his wife a little bit. Mm-hmm. And he encourages it.
And then, because then again, there was also conversations of Sashuko, right? Or the guy?
Who
Shusaku. There's also conversations of, like, I know you hate me because I made you marry me. Like, I know you hate me because I made you marry me.
Yeah.
And...
that's not gonna make her like you more,
like
bro.
Yeah, exactly,
that's not gonna make her like you more, bro.
Yeah, and also a lot of like microaggressions, of like, look at you can't even like fold a Komodo.
Yeah,
or, like, you know, stuff like that. I don't know. It sucks for Sazu like the entire time.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
In like that scene with her like elementary school friend Tetsu, he just shows up one day, and he just like is openly exclaiming to like the family, just like, haha, she's not good at anything. She's so clumsy and like not that bright. You should just get rid of her so I can take her.
Always daydreaming.
Yeah. But like she's saying that to the husband, like, haha, you should give up on your wife already so I can just steal her away from you, bro.
Yeah, and I don't know what.
And they're putting him up for the night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's just out here saying stuff like this.
And then there's a weird scene where they're laying almost together with clothes still, or he has a semi pajama wife beater thing going on.
Yeah.
In which he is like, you know, he's going for it. He's like, hey, he's like, I missed you, you know, blah blah blah.
Yeah, he tried to kiss a married woman.
Yeah, and then she's like, no, get away. It's like, oh, I'm so mad at you. She starts crying. It's like, you were supposed to come back for me.
Yeah,
but now this is my life, and like, and then Tetsu asked, like, you really like him, huh?
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, you really do. And that's where I feel like the dynamic changes with the family, too.
Yeah.
But there was just a cookery.
Yeah, they all knew it, too, because, like, she rejects him, but then they still hang out all night. Like, she walks him out the next day. Like, he's just... They only show him laying on her lap, but still, they're just, like... weird. It's kind of, I don't know, it's just a little strange. Mm-hmm. And again, it didn't need to happen. It's just there just to be miserable. Just like things in Japan were just bad for a good chunk of time, and you just need to see it. It's not going to make you view the world differently. It's not going to add any historical context. It's just like people suffer, period.
I don't know why this little conversation with him staying the night, stuff like that, remind me of like that post from that white girl. It's like, I only have one night stands with military men, so I can kick them out, so I can protect my rights to not charter the military. Oh yeah, that's good.
Which amendment is that?
I can't remember.
The quarter, I think it's 4.
Quartering, yeah. 4?
I think it's 4, because like I feel like I had an 8th grade social studies teacher that would try to teach me tricks like that. Because it's bare arms, bear has 4 arms, so like that's the Second Amendment.
Got it. Yes.
Anyways.
The dynamic between the families kind of changing. Like the sister-in-law is no longer being that much of a dick.
Yeah.
But like she lost her sickly husband to 2 kids.
She doesn't have her son.
She doesn't have her son because she had to leave him because she couldn't take him because that was the only heir.
Yeah, because only men can like inherit property, so her in-laws just by default get him.
The last century was fucked up.
I think a lot of human history was really fucked
Yeah.
up for like a long time.
Like we're at the beginning of this century. It's not saying much from us too either.
No, not at all. Is this going to be my life? Honestly, that's what this movie made me think about a little bit. Like it was just like, well, I'm watching it with Karen last night, and throughout a lot of the movie, I was like, what if the rest of the world was just really tired of the U.S.'s shit? And like they just like treat us like the Japanese are treated in this movie. And I was thinking about that for a good part of the movie. And I feel like that thought made me sadder than the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's saying something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like these 20s are gonna look insane in like 60 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. But what else happens here?
Did we talk about Harumi getting blown?
No, but before that, also the writing or like the direction of the movie, I do like the heist of the movie. It is nice to see Suzu catch a break for a little bit, you know, like even her enjoying rationing food, which is super sad. But
her
she's
learning
having
new
a
recipes
blast.
that teach her how to like ration.
But she's having a blast. She's also having a blast with the community building a bomb shelter.
Yeah.
Which again is not like the best of situations.
It's like getting excited to practice school shooter drills.
Exactly, bro. Did you see the bucket?
What?
Oh, dude, there's a TikTok going around about a bucket, and it's the bucket that you think you're talking about if they have to spend a lot of time in there.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
crazy.
And
a teacher goes through the things in there. It's like, this is a blanket. You know what this is for? It's like, oh, to keep us warm? Not really. It's to cover the body so you guys won't have to see him.
Is it real?
Dude, I don't know. It's just the teacher going on about a bucket. And it's like all like... It's a bucket especially for shitting.
That's what's different about like the U.S. and like Japan. Japan was worried about the U.S. The U.S. is worried about the U.S. It's our own people that are fucked up.
Yeah, but it's like that. And the heist of the movie is... it's nice. At least they don't fucking... I don't know. If it almost tricks you...
I just can't stop giggling that like they really try making school shooter drills seem cool. Like, isn't it cool that she's getting so good at building bomb shelters?
Yeah, dude.
Isn't it cool that like she's so prepared when the siren like goes off? Mm-hmm. Isn't it cool like she has like a whole checklist whenever the siren goes off. No fires on. Like she's turning into a game, you know? She's dumping water on like the stove.
And like her ADHD is part of the fucking movie too, because she's like, I'm very forgetful. I have to remember these things.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very forgetful.
So she remembers it like a child's game.
Yes, exactly. And it's terrible. It's terrible. Now that I'm doing it, now that I'm saying it out loud, I can't dig myself out. I can't make this seem good of a high of the movie.
It's a high, I promise.
Yeah, it's a high.
You just have to take my word for it.
And what else? Yes, she is taking care. One of the times that she has to go across the river to the city, kind of close to the city.
What were they doing? So, like, I think Keiko was gonna buy train tickets to go visit her in-laws because she wanted to see her son for something.
Yeah.
So, like, her, Harumi, and Suzu are going to get train tickets so that they can go. Mm-hmm. So, because the line's long, Keiko sends them to go do something, just to, like, go buy something while they were waiting to buy train tickets. But at that exact time that they're doing that, the sirens start going off, so they have to find, like, a public bomb shelter. Mm-hmm. And then that seems super horrific because, like, I think this is the first time we've seen, like, an actual carpet bombing because all the other times it's just them and the sirens going off and it's just loud, right? Mm-hmm. But this is the first time, like, there's a camera shake and you hear it getting progressively louder and the camera starts shaking progressively more, so the bombs are getting closer and you see them leaving. And then my first thought was like, oh, Keiko's dead. Like, the sister-in-law is dead. The evil sister-in-law that just became her friend is now dead, right? Mm-hmm. That's why you did that? That's why you did that? Okay, cool. I understand.
Nope.
Like, I was ready to be hurt, right? So I'm like, okay, this is what I'm expecting. But then at that exact time that they're walking back to the train station, Suzu has Harumi's hand in her right hand, and they're walking side to side like this. And Harumi is walking with her right side. There's a brick wall, and there's like a crater there because they just got carpet bombed. But it didn't look like scorched. It didn't have like black scorchedness. It was just like a hole in the ground. And at that exact moment, Suzu gets a memory of her in survival class at the YMCA, and the teacher being like, if you see a hole like this and it's not scorched, and that means the weapon was faulty, so don't go near it because it could still explode. And the second that happens, just like boom, like all of a sudden it's just this bright white flash, and you see, I think it was like colored pencil looking artwork of Suzu having trauma, so she's hallucinating a little bit.
White, it was like white colored pencil on black, so it looked like all distorted. But it seemed like the distortion was also putting it together. Like how when you shake I don't know, coins and then they settled, and it's just weird because she's like slowly waking up, like getting out of it. She wakes up at her family's house, bandaged up, missing an arm.
And Keiko's just there screaming at her. She's like, you're a murderer. Why did you take her? Why did you do that? Why did you kill my baby girl? You're a murderer. You're a murderer. We're still not clear what's entirely happened. We just know that she's got bandages on her face.
She's fucked up, dude.
She is. But then, what we haven't explained, thoroughly enough is that, she was a drawer. Like when she first met Tetsu, she was, painting and drawing, and, he won, art awards by submitting her artwork in his place. She was a really, really talented drawer, even though she was untrained, right? And that's the tragedy of it, is that not only did she meet this person that she hung out with most, being her younger niece who was only 3-4 years old, but she lost her right hand from halfway up the forearm. So it's just, that was sad for me, because that's real tragedy. It's just this war has really taken the only thing she had before the war, which was her aptitude and her ability to do art. And now she doesn't even have that. She doesn't even have the ability to do chores around the house to do her wifely, what she thought of her, as her wifely duty anymore.
She makes some badass sandals though.
She tries. She tries with one hand and bandaged missing arm.
And again, when I was talking about the running through the mud, her going through recovery of her missing arm and going through many situations in where she's left out because she wants to help, she wants to do better for the house and stuff, but she can't. She even cuts her hair. Is look, it's I'm ready to go help. It's no, injuries have to stay here. Women have to stay here.
They treated her like a cripple.
Yeah,
which that's, especially back then. Think of how many laws and how many amenities we have for people that are disabled or have had some kind of accident. This is 1942 Japan right now. She lost her use of her dominant hand. That's kind of it for the rest of her life, kind of stuff. And that's why she wanted to move back to Hiroshima. Her and Shusaku have this ginormous fight in the middle of the mountain because she's dude, I'm moving back to my family. I'm a fucking loser.
She's built resentment against herself, from being she's lucky that she married already. You know what I'm saying? She lost her arm after being married, kind of thing. And it feels awful because right after that, Hiroshima, it's obviously one of his cities that got hit by the bomb. And the next day, she's having a conversation with Keiko, as they're packing because they're gonna take her to the train station to go to Hiroshima. Okay. And then the bomb goes off. Yeah. A bomb goes off, the flash goes on, which is crazy, a crazy thing. I don't know if I told you this before, but there's some interviews with Marines when they were doing nuclear ocean testing. They would have ships close to the detonation, right? And they would say some of the exercises was to duck down, put your head between your legs, and close your eyes. Oh, and these guys were saying that even doing that, the flash, the X-rays, you could see your own immediate bones from the X-ray of the bomb.
That's crazy.
That's wild, huh?
That's super crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all. That's insane.
And that it was the scariest shit ever. Some interviews with old Navy people.
Honestly, I thought like once they had that argument that she was going to go back to Hiroshima, I thought like she was going to die there. I thought she was going to die. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I thought this movie was going to end like 5 times before it actually ends.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like, oh, I just got to Hiroshima. That's it.
Yeah,
end of the movie.
I thought when the little girl died, that was going to be the end of the movie. I thought when she lost her hand, that was going to be the end of the movie. I thought when the bomb went off, that was going to be the end of the movie. And then there's still like 15, 20 minutes after the bomb.
And then they show, well, and again, this heist, this quote unquote heist of the movie of her like living finally a settling life with Shusaku, and living this post atomic bomb kind of world where like rations are being more plentiful every day by day. You know,
they're getting leftovers from the U.S. Navy.
Yeah, new towns are getting rebuilt and stuff like that, and they show just for the last like kick in the ribs while you're laying on the floor.
Kick in the ribs.
They show you this story about a girl who survived a firebombing with this adult who this adult is like maimed and like shards of glass in her eyes and her left to the right of her.
It looks like Suzu and Harumi.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And it made me feel like I was watching a hallucination for the entire
was that
movie.
all a dream?
Yeah, exactly. Was this really what happened? Did this little girl really was Harumi?
Yeah, Harumi.
Harumi, and but no, then that little girl that looks like Harumi after like surviving sitting down to a deceased corpse for how long? A decomposing corpse for who knows how long?
Yeah, I don't even know.
And like she becomes like this little homeless girl. And she finds Suzu and Shusaku.
Yeah. And it's super random how it's introduced. Like, all of a sudden, like, just like, I don't know, some food fell that they were eating, and they just let this little homeless child have it. So then they take it home like it's a dog because they haven't had a kid together. And it's just like kind of like it's supposed to be cute. It's supposed to be like the family comedy ending. Just like, oh look, now they're a family. You brought home this little homeless child with lice. Oh, now we all gotta bathe. Ha 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 ha. Full house. It literally ends like right after that happens, and then they're like walking on this bridge together. It's just like through all the ups and downs and how crazy the war was. Shusaku, I'm glad that I'm just here with you in this corner of the world. In this corner of the world. Boop, 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 boop. Like, and that's the end of the movie. That's just how it ends.
Like, you almost feel like somebody's gonna come out and like pie you in the face.
Mm-hmm. It's such a joke. It's so bad.
Crazy, dude. Crazy. Before we...
Her sister has cancer, and her whole family is dead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Hiroshima, bomb goes off.
It's sad, because she's a cripple. She can't go out there herself.
Yeah. People are dying. They show people dying of radiation poisoning.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like it's so random when it happens. Like, obviously, the bomb goes off, but it's not like... It would have been crazier if it was, like, somebody we knew, a character we were attached to, like somebody in Suzu's family. But instead, it's just, like, there's... In one scene, there's just, like, this homeless guy, like, rotting of radiation poisoning. And the next scene, he's just gone. It's just like, oh, did you see that homeless guy? He walked all the way here from Hiroshima. He looked crazy, didn't he? And it's just, like, light gore just to, like, freak you out a little bit. Like, it doesn't... It's not part of the story. Yeah. It's not like really tied in. It's just there just to be traumatic. It's just like, yeah, people went through this.
I feel like that part of the movie was not as traumatic as like the
losing
whole
the
like
girl.
Yeah, or like the whole run through the mud thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's rough, man. Like the whole movie they're just beating you with like crazy tragedy.
Well, what we didn't even talk about is like Suzu goes on this crazy fit when they're listening to the radio broadcast from the Japanese emperor of them surrendering.
Oh yeah.
And then she's really like, we went all through all that for nothing. We lost a little girl for nothing. We lost like houses for nothing. I lost my
rationing sardine.
Yeah,
for nothing.
They got 4 sardines a day as a family. That was their meal. That was their rations.
Yeah, dude.
That is crazy. She lost her hand for nothing. Like she had nothing to show for it, and that's like the moral of the story. Is just like things are terrible, and that's just it. That's just how life kind of is. At least Grave of the Fireflies. Like, what? I feel like it had a moral to it. What was the moral in Grave of the Fireflies? That, like,
Don't be orphans in Japanese movie.
Right, but it's kind of like it has this like poetic tragedy where it's kind of like the war ended shortly after the little girl died.
Correct. After he dies.
Right, after he dies. Like, if they had made it a little bit longer, or if they had gone with the family that they had fought with in the beginning of the movie, they could have made it. So it's about, like, the hubris of, like, being a child in this adult world that is World War II, right? In This Corner of the World kind of does that, because you're using young adults to be like, dude, really adult shit is going on out there, and this is where just the layman, everyday person is just suffering. But then there's no moral to that story. It's just kind of like suffering for the sake of telling the story of suffering.
Because they even have... Because if it was a reunion movie of like Shasuko... Right, that's his name? Shusaku. If it was a reunion between him and Zuzu at the end, that would have been great.
Cool.
But he goes and comes back like a day job.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it doesn't even... Every time he leaves, it's like, oh, he might be coming back.
Yeah.
You know?
Super crazy.
Mappa.
Studio Mappa, this was like their first feature-length film. They had a short film that they had originally created for Garo. And Garo was like one of the first anime they did. That's what I mean. What we know of Studio Mappa has not been going on that long. Like, correct. Not at all. Like, I feel like people weren't talking about Studio Mappa until Jujutsu Kaisen. But I think they also did season 1 of One Punch Man.
Yeah, I believe so.
Right? So, like, I feel like it wasn't
Attack on Titan, right?
Well, that's the most recent season.
Oh, yeah.
So what I mean is, like, their earlier works that people started recognizing them for. So this is pre that even.
That's pre that.
Pre that.
Yeah.
And I feel like it shows it, like, especially with all the scenes that, like, didn't need to be there. It could have been a whole 30 minutes shorter, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. 130, 40 solid minutes of a runtime.
Yeah.
There's no... Like I said, the dub just keeps going. The dub just keeps going. It's dialogue all the time. Watch Grave of the Fireflies if you really want to watch something like this. Now watching two of them, I can't really compare it as like watching Captain Tsubasa and Blue Lock.
What a jump! We went from like soccer anime to talking about World War II. What a jump!
Thank you for joining us on March Madness 2023. That was Blue Lock last episode. That was a good month. You know, we're done. We're over sport animes.
5 episodes.
Yeah, at least for now. You want to go into the nerd now? You want to have any last thoughts on?
No, not really. I just wanted to go over the director for the movie real quick. It was Mr. Sunao Katabushi. This is probably one of the last things he ever produced. It literally is the last thing he ever produced. He was an assistant director for Kiki's Delivery Service, and he was
Kiki's Delivery Service.
Yeah, me too. And he was the lead director and writer for Black Lagoon, the modern day pirate anime.
Is that the one with a big mommy character?
Why is she a mommy, Aldo?
Oh, I don't know.
What is it? Do you want to explain it to me and the audience? What that implies?
Nerd down?
No nerd down, not today. It is a Wednesday. So okay. Right here though, I do want to remind everybody to subscribe on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube.
Yes.
Leave us a positive review on your favorite podcast platform.
Yes. Also email us at betweennerds@gmail.com if you have any questions, concerns, of suggestions. Also anime suggestions.
Between Nerds Podcast.
betweennerdspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. If you want to enter our monthly giveaway for the month of April, so far we have no contestants.
I don't think so,
because it's not April yet, because I'm recording in March. But by the time you guys are watching this, it's April, I promise.
Yes, but you could be already a...
Yeah, if you could be entered into our monthly giveaway by being a subscriber on YouTube and leaving a comment on any video, or if you leave a positive written review on your favorite podcast platform and then email us at betweennerdspodcast@gmail.com letting us know that review is you will be entered into the giveaway.
Definitely. And then if you don't have anything else to say about that, then watch next week's episode will be Trigun Stampede.
Stampede, hopefully with Roby Quintela.
And that's it.
This has been Between
Nerds.